know what I meant.
It is not the time for this.
My sister was in that building. I want to join.
I'm sorry for your loss, but we are done here. Let's get that boat moving.
You gotta let me join. I want to help stop the raiders.
You lost someone you love. I can understand that. But you are wholly unsuited for this job.
What do you mean?
Outside your limitations, I assume you don't have much schooling. This is an elite force. Years of education and experience.
There was one review of it on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
They gave, and it's pretty short, so I'll just read it. But it was 3.5 stars, generous, and it quoted, "Gentlemen, I believe I have something of yours." And then it says, "Charming and with a more potent and well-delivered dose of theology than any of the Kendrick brothers films."
Wow.
Okay, that is fucking false.
And the one comment says, "Quite true. Kendrick brothers always end up making it so preachy. These kids do a way better job."
Okay, that's a great way to start because I have so many objections to that. Okay, well, first of all, before I dish these people, anyone we know leave these comments?
No.
Because it's a distinct possibility that those, I mean, you didn't say so, but it's a distinct possibility that one of your Letterboxd associates wrote those comments, in which case I can appreciate a hot take. But, okay, it is true that, you know, the Kendrick brothers do a more overt theological grounding in their films. I wouldn't describe the Kendrick brothers as, you know, preachy. I mean, I have a high tolerance for that. Cristiano brothers, way more preachy in quotation marks, if you ask me. Kendrick brothers, very Christian, like very overtly Christian, you know, with guidance about what's right and what's wrong. So I guess, you know, preachy by default, but I don't find their tone as like shrill and obnoxious as like the Cristianos preaching.
They don't really do like, you know, you're going to go to hell.
Right.
Like the Cristianos do.
Oh, yeah. The Cristianos are all about that.
But they're very like, you know, Christian principles or whatever. Like you have to have a good father figure. You have to not look at pornography.
Yeah.
And have like date nights with your wife.
Yeah.
You got to be an overcomer.
You got to be an overcomer. You got to massage your wife's feet.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to rub your wife's feet while she eats her favorite dessert.
Yeah.
And
stinky, sweaty feet.
Yeah, there's nothing like thinking about feet while you're eating. There's nothing like pondering the concept of stinky feet while you're eating.
I would love to have someone else rub my stinky, sweaty feet while I eat dessert.
Okay, I will say that approximately 2 people who listen to this podcast are furiously jacking off right now.
Well, wait till they find out we're all barefoot right now. Holding the mic with our feet.
We should get the only, you know, I know we're very against pivoting to video, but I do think we should have like the foot cam.
Foot cam would be great.
We could just have the camera pointed at our feet while we're talking, and then
yeah, you never see our mouths moving or anything.
No, that's the least important part.
That's actually a trick used in this movie a lot.
Yeah. I've got pretty high arches, and I've often considered just doing like an anonymous OnlyFans.
Yeah,
of feet. I don't know if that's like a turn on for foot fetish people, though.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is that what people want?
I don't know. Somebody's gotta.
I'm sure somebody's
write to us. Let us know.
Well, welcome back to Boys Bible Study. Just a couple of kids having fun, talking about our favorite movies. Ash here with my co-hosts,
Scott
and Julian.
I don't know if you know the anime term chibi, which is like,
oh yeah,
like they'll do, you know, you can get chibi versions of your favorite characters where they're all cute babies.
Yeah.
What about Chibi Boys Bible Study? Right? Where it's adorable kids dressed up in our clothes, delivering very monotone, coached takes about Christian movies.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
Could use a week off.
Yeah, could use the week off, could get some up and coming talent a chance to shine on the world podcasting stage. Today on Boys Bible Study, we discuss a film that's been on our list for a while. We were excited to watch, and now that we've watched it, we are excited to have gotten it over with. It is The Defense of New Haven.
Basically, Chibi Defiance, if you remember that movie about the Jewish resistance fighters in Warsaw.
Yeah, Chibi Defiance here. This is a 2016 film. This film, I'm just gonna drop the big novelty of this film. Not only is it a Christian film, it has a cast of entirely kids. I would say the oldest kid in this movie, maybe 12.
Yeah.
Maybe younger than that, 10, 11. And so this is a sort of Christian novelty film where the entire cast are kids. And the director and producer of this film,
Larry Clark.
the kids are all like fucking like doing crack and skateboarding. Yeah, the oldest character in this film is 12. There's all these shots of them shirtless for some reason. And they're all skateboarding. Larry Clark film, everybody. No, writer-director Joel Steege. And this is something I just noticed. Stars Amelia Steege, Harrison Steege, Addison Steege.
Yeah.
So this is a
family
really a
production.
Steege family production.
And don't leave Lisa Steege out of this either. She is co-creator, co-producer.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you pointed that out. I didn't see it on IMDb here. But yes.
Did either of you do any digging on this family?
Not as much as I should have. No.
On these Steeges.
Yeah, they have like their whole like filmmaking journey blogged on their website.
Oh, wow. I should have read
33 Steeges.
Yeah, they got their start because one day they came home from church and a pickup truck had like crashed into their car in their driveway in their garage. And so they used the insurance payout. Instead of buying a new car, they bought a video camera.
Whoa.
And thus began the father's like journey to being like a filmmaker, and the whole family like joined in on it.
Wow.
They seem very happy. I watched some of the behind the scenes things of this, and like it seems like the kids are having a lot of fun, and like
that's great.
I mean, you got to be a little careful when you're talking about the giant Christian family who does everything as a unit. But like they were like building the sets and shit, and like learning how to like make movies, and built that little harbor in their house and everything.
Wow.
It's like
That's really nice.
I was jealous. Dude, yeah, it was.
This set was all at somebody's house, all built at somebody's house.
In their like giant barn or something. I think they live in like suburban Texas or something. Yeah,
that is so sick.
Wow.
This evokes Scott's past, jealousy of the Wright family's film homeschool program.
Yeah,
another Christian family who make films with their younger children. The Hayes Wrights. I don't know about the Steeges. I know the Hayes Wrights homeschool their kids, and so Scott's talked about the idea of the homeschool filmmaking program for young Christian kids.
Yeah, this one seems a little more put together than the Wright family.
Yeah,
they do seem kind of homeschooled, but also like I don't know. The kids seem pretty well adjusted, and
they seem. I mean, they're okay. Let's front load all our compliments.
Yeah.
Because there are genuine. First of all, if any of the Steeges are listening, I just listened to this part, turn it off in about 7 minutes. But I will say, the kids have got to be extremely smart.
Yeah,
they are. Listen, they're child actors. And they're delivering very verbose. They're memorizing and delivering very verbose lines with a lot of confidence. And, that is a difficult thing to pull off.
So I actually read about this.
Yes.
In their first movie, they blogged about how they wrote the script and like read through it with all the kids and like the kids tried to memorize their lines, but couldn't. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
And they had to, so they would listen to recordings of like reading their lines
Yes.
as they went to bed, and then they would like practice their scenes while they were like playing with each other. Wow. Not like they were being forced to do it or anything. That, I mean, this is according to the parents, but like it doesn't seem like anybody was having like a bad time doing any of this. But
no,
like,
I bet they're enjoying doing it. I would. You know,
I mean, the kids are like using fucking power tools and shit to like build these huge sets in their garage and stuff. I'm jealous.
Yeah,
I'm completely jealous.
For real.
So yeah, that's how they like got the kids to learn all the lines and stuff. I mean, a lot of it, I did read that their property is directly below a flight path. And so that's another reason why all of the audio is ADR in the movie.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
because they need to teach one of their kids how to mix sound, because this movie had the worst sound mixing out of any of the movies.
We got to have a little. They can have another son, name him DJ. Yeah. That could be the audio mixing son.
DJ Steege.
Yeah. Wow. Very impressed and definitely a bit envious of the Steege family. You know, this is bringing me back. I was, like a very, a gifted and talented young child such as myself. I used to just write skits. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to write like plays and skits, and every so often I'd get to perform something in church, or church is a good outlet for these things, or in school or something like that. But I used to have many Microsoft Word documents, Word 97 documents full of like scripts or like for potential plays and TV shows that I'd written. So yeah, if your whole family, if for some reason I had an entire family that was very deeply interested in filmmaking to the point where they would dedicate a lot of their shared life to it, then yeah, I would have absolutely enjoyed that as a kid.
Yeah, same. Been dope. Oh, I do want to defend the sound though, because I listened to it in headphones and it sounded okay.
Weird. I was just watching it on my $8,000 Grado home theater speakers, and it sounded terrible.
Interesting.
No, I mean, I was on. You see my setup. It's not bad.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
It's just a stereo, home theater speakers. And before you'd start calling me a 1%er, I got them an offer up for $50. So get good speakers for cheap, people. A little life hack. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can just find them at Goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
And well, your humble bragging aside, yeah. Your humble bragging and superiority aside, I think probably it was just mixed on headphones. That's why it sounds okay on headphones.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Never thought about that.
Here's a question, Julian. I'm very glad you read up on this family more. Where do they get the other kids? Are there other
human
kids?
Trafficking.
I was gonna say they'd be hitting up the Wayfair catalog,
because like when people put the stickers of like their stick figure family on their car, you know exactly how many there are, where they live, and
you go to one of those cars that has a stick figure family on them. You put a zip tie around the door handle, and that signals to the other human traffickers that they should.
These kids are gonna be famous. I think it was just the family. There's like 8 kids.
Okay.
And
it's a lot of kids.
I think the heavy reliance on beards and wigs
and the masks
and masks was so they could reuse all their children, because there was definitely 2 bearded kids who were the main villain was also one of the freedom fighter kids.
Okay. Very good.
They just had 2 different beards, and they all have the same voice, which makes it impossible to figure out who is talking when 2 people wearing masks are in the room.
Right.
And these masks are like gas masks, listeners.
Yeah, little child
so you really can't tell who it is in them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've complimented the Steege family enough, right? We've admitted that we're very jealous of them, and that we absolutely have a respect for their craft and for the obviously very lovely family dynamic that they share.
Yeah.
Okay. This movie. I'm going to say, I'm going to start with let's just start by talking about, this is not the only film with an entirely child cast. I remember, Scott, when you and our friend of the show, Joey Gallimore, were doing your scene famous movie time screenings, which was a screening series that the two of you had where you would show shot on video films. I will never forget that insane film where it's all kids and they're playing like cops.
Yes, Hawk Jones. Hawk Jones is the movie shot
Hawk
on
Jones.
video. And it's kind of like a fast-paced like crime movie, modern police movie.
Right.
From the 90s. Very fun.
Right. Actually, to be clear, IMDb does say 86.
Oh, my bad.
So
80s
could
movie.
be
Damn.
late 80s. But
Kid's the same age as us right now.
yeah, I wonder what they're talking about on their podcast. But so Hawk Jones, very different vibe. It's actually slightly risque. It's not like over the top, but they do little things where like the kids throw in adult humor. There's references to, if I remember correctly, there's references to drinking and like romance and the tropes of a fast talking, as Scott said, police film.
I believe one of the kids gets blown up with a rocket launcher, which
Could
also
be.
happens in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah, it does.
So anyway, my point being, the idea of the film with an entirely child cast. I'm just going to start by saying I don't find this genre of film appealing. And while I was watching The Defense of New Haven, I wrote down why. It took me a lot of soul searching, but I figured it out. And the fact is that I don't find it charming.
I thought you just wrote down the word why.
No. No, I wrote down why. I searched my heart of hearts. And the answer is that I don't find it charming to see kids pretend to be adults, because the magic of childhood is that you're not an adult. You don't have to work a job. You know what I mean? Well, hopefully, it's like seeing kids having gone past the phase of childhood to the point where they're like being enlisted in some like special ops, and they're like learning training and discipline and stuff like that to become like fighters or whatever. I was like, I don't really find this like cute or funny. I find it's like watching a kid work in a fucking factory or something.
Yeah. Especially in today's in light of current events, a little depressing to watch children have to train as resistance fighters
in a body called the CDF.
Yeah.
The CDF. So this is just something I found, and again, I'm not saying I actually think the kids probably really enjoyed doing it if acting is a job, but I don't enjoy seeing kids act like adults. Something about that just does not have any charm to me.
Wait, real quick. What do you think about Babies in Peril, though?
I don't believe I've seen Babies in Peril.
Well, like those Ann Geddes pictures, it'll be like babies trapped at, like there'll be like a fruit basket, or like babies as like a Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah,
but they're like clearly trapped because they're
and-
babies.
yeah. Ann Geddes is so. Ann Geddes, I'm looking at her photos now. She's so awesome.
I was so obsessed with her. I dated this girl who's in college, and I went to her dad's house once, and he had like an Ann Geddes framed photo in his bathroom for some reason of like little babies in flowers.
That is so cool. I remember like a friend's mom when I was a kid had like an Ann Geddes like calendar. And like the photos all really fascinated and freaked me out. But looking at the photos now, like scrolling through Google Images, they are goated. Ann Geddes is the GOAT. She is a very talented photographer. I love seeing these babies, as Scott said, trapped in otherworldly scenarios. It's she does a good job. She knows how to take a damn photo. What do you think, Scott? What do you think of Ann Geddes?
Oh, she has a very creative mind. I don't know how she gets all those babies to sign off on this stuff.
Yeah, I don't either. They seem okay. I mean, I'm looking at the babies right now. They're not crying.
She's really good at Photoshop. For the time when this was like, hot. They were on like Photoshop like -1.
I'm seeing some Ann Geddes prints I've never seen before. That's like literally just supposed to be two babies in the womb together.
Yeah,
that one's really freaky.
Wow.
But
if you do want to see ones with them crying, though, you have to pay for those. Those aren't online.
Behind the paywall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck? I found a what?
These are Julian sent plushy babies to the chat.
I don't understand this website, Becker Associates. I can add that you can buy these for $0.
$0? Are you saying you can just add an unlimited amount of Ann Geddes plushies to your cart?
Description, it says millennial women. Anne has a loyal and active social media fan base with millennial women aged 25 to 34, her largest audience. I just like they come in little eggs.
Yeah, that is very, very cute. Scott, what's your favorite art involving young children who are doing an admirable job at what they're doing, but it remains to be seen if they can actually, like, I guess, consent to be involved?
Well, like funniest
There's just
thing
no
to
way
see?
to phrase this question. I hate to say it. There's no good way to phrase the question. You know what I'm saying.
Just like, what's my favorite baby in peril situation?
Yeah, basically.
Look who's talking.
Look who's talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, actually, Baby Geniuses. That's the one where they're like constantly in peril, right?
Yes.
They're like climbing along ledges and stuff.
Right. And also, I mean, it's great to call back to Baby Geniuses because there's a boys Bible study connection with Baby Geniuses because it's the Clark family. No, wait, who am I thinking of? The family, Emanon, that family.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Stephen Paul's one of the writers.
Oh, Paul, not Paul. Yes,
Yeah, the Pauls. Yeah,
yes,
the Paul family.
Stephen Paul. Okay, yeah, sorry. Bob Clark is the director of Baby Geniuses, but it's the Paul family who are involved in the Baby Geniuses franchise, who we covered extensively when Scott and I did an episode on the Christian film Emanon, the pseudo-Christian film.
Was that not the cult? Like
yes, but there is a movie not affiliated.
Emanon.
It's the word no name backwards.
Oh.
It seems that there's been many things through history that have used this name. There's a popular manga, but there's also a Christian film. None of them related to each other. Yes. We love to see art starring babies about babies being in peril, such as the film Baby Geniuses, and now a new entry in the canon, The Defense of New Haven. So let's talk about the content of this film. What are these babies getting up to now?
Well, they're at an endless battle. It looks like they're in Dark City. Very bleak days. But it opens with a Bible verse, which is important because
yes,
ostensibly this movie is an allegory for the importance of the Bible. That was my takeaway.
Yes. I wrote down there's a Bible verse at the beginning and ending. Sometimes these are worth saying. Sometimes, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to, I noticed something about the verses. The verse in the beginning is Psalm 1. The verse at the end is 1 Peter 1.
Peter.
Which leads me to believe did they just open the Bible to the first page and start writing these down? They're like, oh, we need something from Psalm. Let's just look at the first one. But yes, the movie opens with a verse from Psalm 1. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. Yes, the idea of consulting the Bible, of loving the book of the Lord is something to keep in mind as the events of the movie unfold.
Love him or leave him.
Love him or leave him. But you gotta defend him.
Yeah, it didn't really seem all that Christian after this.
Not quite.
In the first 10 seconds and the last 10 seconds, that's where they really get their Christian movie in.
Right.
Beyond that, not a lot going on.
Yeah, but what is going on? What does where do we see the children in this film?
This little kid right at the beginning with the one eye and the beard cracked me up every time I saw him.
Yeah, cool.
So we're in a world in which some fictional town called New Haven is occupied by a Gestapo type force who are responsible for like disappearing people. It's made a little more clear what they're doing. They seem to be filling houses with smoke and then stealing all of the stuff that they bought at Home Goods. And then putting it into like their chief's room, which I don't really understand what the long-term plan was. But this is like this is an occupied city, and there's a resistance force called the CDF. What did C stand for? City Defense Force? City Defense Force.
Yes. The CDF.
Who are training in the shadows to overthrow the occupiers. Everyone you see is a child. And the villains are all children in essentially SS uniforms with gas masks on.
Yeah.
A lot of questionable visual motifs in this film.
Just the CDF versus the SS.
Yeah. Very bizarre. Don't have to look too hard to figure out where the inspiration for this story came from, but doesn't really ever get that overtly violent. Like kids get hit with darts and they get knocked unconscious.
Yes. They avoid the idea of us thinking about like children getting killed by writing in-universe weapons such as darts that stun you for an hour and then you wake up.
Yeah. It seems that, though, a lot of kids get killed off-screen.
Right.
And they don't say they've been killed, but they'll say things like, forget it, they're gone. Like, get over it. One child does get blown up on camera during the river battle later in the movie. He does actually get blown up, which is very strange to see. But yeah, it's basically a pretty cookie cutter like resistance versus, occupying force, like almost like a World War II movie.
I would agree with that. I would say like what makes it unique and interesting is the visual aesthetic of the film and some of the world building choices. I would call it, this is maybe the closest to a steampunk film that we've watched.
Yeah.
For Boys Bible Study, I feel like it owes a bit to steampunk aesthetics because it's sort of set in this like, this like present, future, past. On one hand, we're evoking like old timey like chimney sweep aesthetics with kids wearing like newsboy caps and stuff like that. On the other hand, there's this like gas mask wearing evil force, and this society somehow has these like technologies that allow them to cause smoke erupt from pipes underground and like engulf a house in smoke. So we're getting a lot of pipes, inner workings, machines. These are all very steampunk.
Yeah, I searched steampunk Christian movie and a review for the Defense of New Haven.
Aha!
And they say SEOs have ruined the internet. Got exactly what I was looking for. A link to buy the Defense of New Haven on DVD.
I just think we need more female SEOs. I think that'll help a lot.
Is it now we got to order the Return to New Haven?
Yes. Everyone listening, please support these kids by buying all of their DVDs.
So I had some questions.
Yes.
Because of the entire child cast, the all children cast. First off, there was one character who they did not show her face. Did you notice that at the beginning?
Yes.
That was very weird.
Based on the framing of that shot, those series of shots, I think there was probably something wrong with the audio, and they just punched in heavily.
It was like the Charlie Brown teachers.
Yeah, totally.
But I was a little confused. Like, so they're all like, most of the kids seem to be like 6 to 8 years old.
Yeah.
And then the main character seems like he's like a little older than everybody else.
Yeah.
And then there's a girl who seems a couple years older than them.
Yeah, she's maybe the oldest.
And the lead character, he has like a sister who's like a baby.
Right.
So does that mean that he's like an old man and like the girl's like 100 years old and like his sister's like 25?
That's a really good question.
Like I'm confused about this world. Do they live like where are all the do they only live to like the age of 13 and then they die?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say yes.
Yeah.
You're looking at kids
like
our kids' ages like.
Yeah, in child years, she's 100. And that's called twink death, y'all.
Sad. I've seen the greatest minds of a generation lost to twink death.
Yeah. The only twinks for me are the mad ones, the ones who burn like Roman candles, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, yes, that's very interesting implications. Obviously, this movie is just... It's funny to see the ways that they rewrite their society so we don't have to think about a couple things. One, we very infrequently have to think about kids dying, even though they're ostensibly in a war. Yeah. Secondly, notice that instead of the protagonist having, like a wife or a family back home, he has to worry about his baby sister. The only way that these characters in the film relate to each other is either being related like brothers or sisters or being enlisted in the same militia together. So their only familial bonds are through work or through brother and sisterhood. This makes me ask, where are the parents, y'all?
Yeah, where do
in
these
this world?
Kids come from?
Where do babies come from?
They're born. They come out of the ground. Oh, they come out of the flowers. The Angetus flowers.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, they're literally manufacturing this terrible situation that they're in.
Say more.
The parents are the ones putting this all together. They're the ones that are pitting the kids against themselves, against each other for their own entertainment in the name of a better future for their children.
You heard it here, folks. Parents are the elites pulling the strings behind the curtain. We need a society without parents. Famously, no parents, no rules. And that's something we should really deeply consider because, the parents, they're making us fight each other. We have to look past that.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, how did they get on the island in Lord of the Flies? What the fuck were they doing?
That's a really good question. I feel like they were on a school trip.
They're on a school trip to a desert island?
I think like the ship, they're on a ship that crashes or something.
Yeah. Was that what happens? They're like but how did they get on a ship? What the hell?
You're asking really good questions. I used to love that book.
Okay. In the midst of a wartime evacuation, a British airplane crashes on or near an isolated island.
Right.
The only survive. Okay, so they were fleeing the war.
Right.
They're probably fleeing New Haven.
Yeah, they were evacuated from New Haven.
Yeah.
They weren't fit to join the CDF, so they were forced to evacuate.
You know what was funny was when one of the kids was like, "This isn't a special needs facility." Or
Yes,
whatever.
that was awesome.
Very, very strange.
You're in Barracks 3 at the bottom of the stairs. Pete will start your training in the morning.
Thank you.
It's not a special needs class, Alec. If you slow us down even a little bit, you're out of here. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The main character of the Defense of New Haven, the character's name is Alec. Alec in the film has one arm.
Yes, for no reason.
No reason, but he is a disabled boy. He wants to join the CDF. He obviously is very plucky. He helps the CDF pass on a very important message early on. They're still reticent to take him. And at one point when they are, when Alec does win them over and asks to join, one of them says, but just so you know, this isn't a special needs class. Like, basically if you hold us back, you're out.
Yeah. And that's kind of like a thing that separates this from other kids movies or movies that are like, about children or like all children, is like, it is not childish at all. I mean, aside from the darts, which is just kind of a way to get around children shooting each other.
Yeah.
Like, this is a pretty mature story.
Yeah.
Nobody's like, they're stealing toys from our toy factory or
right.
whatever. Or like they're making us do homework. It's like they're trying to like systematically wipe out the citizens of New Haven.
Right.
To take over their like chestnut harvesting factory or whatever the fuck they do. Did you notice that?
No, apparently.
They were like, when they were showing what people do in town, they were like emptying big bags of chestnuts into like a wheelbarrow.
Okay. Yeah. If we win the chestnut manufacturing factory, then we have won New Haven.
Yeah. But I think I would have liked this movie a lot if I saw it when I was a kid. I was never into like kids movies.
Right.
I always liked adult situations.
Yeah.
I never even really liked. I liked Jurassic Park, but I hated any of the scenes that had the kids in it.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, those kids are pretty annoying, to be fair.
Yeah, I think that was it. I thought it felt like pandering. I didn't know the words for this at the time, but it felt very like pandering to me. As a child.
I can sort of relate. I remember because I went to church with my mom, and I was pretty precocious in church. I read the lessons during church sometime. I read out loud, like blah blah blah. And I remember saying to my mom when I was like 7 or 8 or something, like, just how much I hated when like the adults from church would come up to me and be like, "You did such a good job."
Yeah.
Like, I was like a little kid. Don't get me wrong. I was like literally like single digit ages or whatever. But like, I could tell. I think many kids can, unless they're dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
If your kid is dumb as fuck, then they won't tell. If your kid's smart like me, I was just saying, I hated being pandered to. I hated to be like, I knew I was a child, but I didn't like for adults to remind me I was a child. I enjoyed just being spoken to as you would speak to one of your peers.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted as a kid.
I think a lot of kids hate that.
I think a lot of kids hate that. At this point in my life, I don't know a lot of kids. I know a lot of adults who act like kids.
Yeah.
But I make an effort when speaking to a younger person to just try to. I mean, it doesn't mean I use the same like
What's up,
vocabulary.
Sometimes my daughter talks about kids as if she's not a kid, which I think is
so
interesting.
I don't think any kid thinks that. I think most kids don't think of themselves as kids.
Yeah, right. You're a temporarily embarrassed adult.
I think it might be true.
Fuck.
You know what's something crazy? Not to be talking about my child on air, but
Go for it.
I got a karaoke machine for my significant other for her birthday this past week, and when I showed the karaoke machine to my daughter, this is her having never seen stand up or having seen anybody do karaoke. As soon as I handed her the mic, she told a joke and then sang a song. Like a whole song.
Wow.
Wow.
It's just, you know,
She just knew.
it's how like cats know how to like hunt.
Yes.
They just know it. It's just instinctual.
Right. I'm surprised, I mean, her father has a mic in his hand for at least an hour a week. I'm surprised she didn't just start monologuing for a solid hour once she got the mic. But that's awesome. I love to know that there is something instinctive about the microphone that enhances the voice that just makes you want to perform.
It's
Apparently.
what is it? Genetic. It's the same way that
It's instinctive.
Same thing with pit bulls, how they know how to like rip kids' faces off.
Yeah. It's built in.
That would have been funny if she just ranted about the Nightmare Before Christmas for an hour. Just let it
Another
go.
thing.
Film podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't know if I could tell our friends a story or not on this podcast, but probably, so I will. So you know how I just saw a friend of the podcast, Nate, this past week from Loose Lips.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
He was saying that when he was a kid, when Nightmare Before Christmas came out, his mom took the family to it and said they weren't going to be able to afford to get like snacks of any sort or soda or anything like that. And some stranger just like bought them all like popcorn and candy and soda.
Wow.
And his mom told them that had to have been an angel after the movie, after watching The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, that's so funny.
So you can believe it? An angel bought our friend Nate popcorn and candy.
That's so cool. See, it doesn't take much to be an angel, and that's a powerful thing. That's a powerful thing. You can be somebody's angel,
and angels appreciate the Pumpkin King too.
They really do. Actually, honestly, nowadays, if you've seen these movie theater prices, you would have to be an angel to buy your entire family popcorn.
Fucking Warren, was it an angel or Warren Buffett?
Yeah. No, Warren Buffett was busy putting the ketchup packets in his pocket.
Yeah. He's opening his pocket and pumping the fucking butter thing.
The butter is his pockets full of fucking movie theater butter.
You can keep his palms
and then he just
greased.
glides out of there. He's all greased up. He slides right out of there.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, a lot happening at the movie theater.
You know how he got so rich is he would park in the mall parking lot, and then he would do his shopping, and then he would go to the movie theater and get his parking validated. Didn't even see a movie.
Genius. Lots to learn.
Incredible. Oh, speaking of candy though, and the Nightmare Before Christmas, because you guys were shitting on Halloween so much while I was gone last week.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's what we do when you're not on the podcast.
Covering Christian magicians once again.
Yeah.
When we were out trick-or-treating for Halloween, we went by a church and they were doing trunk or treat. So we stopped there.
Wow.
And
very cool.
Nice.
Well, during the course of being there, I had 3 orange Bibles thrust upon me, all New Testament plus Psalms plus Proverbs.
Okay, yeah, all the hits. And you're like, hey,
and
listen, I
also-
already have one of these.
That's what I tried to tell them, and they were like, "Give it to your neighbor," and I was like, "I'm not doing that." But I also, while I was there, with candy, one of the things handed to my daughter was a little pamphlet of games that just like says Jesus on it a couple times, but it's just like Halloween games. And then something else, this little flyer called the Pumpkin Prayer.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The
There's
pumpkin
this
prayer.
whole like weird story on the back that's supposed to convince you to ask Jesus into your life, and there's a pumpkin prayer on the other side.
Oh, is it kind of like when they do the thing with the candy cane at Christmas where it's like the candy cane reminds us of Jesus, like the red is his blood, like the white is his like
beautiful
pure.
skin.
And like you flip it around and it says J for Jesus. Is it one of those deals, Scott, where it's like on Halloween we can remember Jesus in the pumpkin, like in the noble pumpkin? Is it like that type of deal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like
Okay.
that's
Okay.
the like little story on the back
Yeah,
about the
there's
jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, there's a cottage industry of that type of
Another
shit.
point for millennial Christmas.
Okay.
The Jesus pumpkin thing.
Yeah,
is
the
what they're
pumpkin
doing
prayer.
now.
Yes.
You're
Come
right.
on.
They're passing
You're
out the
right.
pumpkin prayer. They know.
It's tying it together. Julian, that was a really good movie idea you had, by the way, where I have to like
What was it? Oh, yeah.
I'm saying
about
I,
that.
but like where a dad has to convince his grown child that
Well,
they need to get
Scott,
back
who
to
knows
the magic of Halloween.
Oh, Halloween.
an
the true magic of Halloween.
angel might just drunk drive into your parked car and side of your garage, and you could get insurance payouts. Start your
And start
filmmaking
your family
career.
production company. Take your daughter out of school and just start the family production
Yeah.
company.
That was,
as the
and
Steeges
And they say
did
I
to
can
make
either
this
pay
movie.
for your car or give you one movie's portion of popcorn and candy and soda.
It's about the same cost.
What's funny is like they were like, "Oh, we're not going to we don't want to see the movie. We can't get snacks." And this guy bought them all snacks, and they went in the movie. And then he went into the parking lot and was just smashing windows, with cars. And I was an angel, kids.
That was an angel. Everyone in that movie became a filmmaker that day. You know, that not everyone saw The Nightmare Before Christmas, but everyone who did became a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Made a movie of their own. What else from the defense of New Haven? I gotta admit, there's not a ton.
Movie.
I would
To
say
be quite honest.
as an aesthetic piece. Okay, well, let's talk about we could end or get close to the end. Let's do our best to tie up the Christian allegory in this film.
Yeah.
Which honestly, not that much. But while they are training to be in the CDF, I just feel really like making sure that the letters CDF are apparent when I'm referencing the defense force of this film. They have to read some sort of unspecified series of training manuals. They learn about tactics. That's something they keep. Oh, you got to learn about tactics. But there is a stress that among certain members of the CDF that they're not emphasizing the foundational teachings of the old book. The old book is referenced several times in a very generic sense. It differs from the newer book, but at one point, toward the end of the movie, they say how the evil people, they know that they could tell if we didn't have a strong foundation because we weren't using the old book.
Right.
Yeah. What's the new book supposed to represent?
That's a really good question.
'Cause,
the old book is the Bible, y'all. It's the Bible.
Well, the old book's the Old Testament. And
One
the
could
new
argue.
book is the New Testament.
To me, the new
No,
books
yeah.
are the stylized like mega church version of
Yes.
what was already not broken.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I noticed too. So when we had our big surprise reveal at the end, because y'all, there was a mole. There was a mole this whole time in the movie.
Yes, there was a mole in the CDF. It's true.
And you're never going to care about who this character is, so I'll say who it is now.
Yes.
So when we find out that it's Winston, the designated leader of the group, which is crazy, I remembered that he had said you don't really need the old one for you need these new manuals, basically.
Aha.
So he is. So the whole point is that he is taking away the foundation, and they're
Yes.
just learning the tactics that the raiders, the bad guys, all know about.
Yeah.
He is trying to destroy the canon, the tried and true Western canon, by infiltrating the CDF with DEI, y'all, and CRT. He is trying to upend the canon. He's trying to ban To Kill a Mockingbird, and he's trying to put in Anti-Racist Baby.
Sickening.
Sickening. And this is weakening the CDF from the inside. This is how you can tell a bad leader, a leader who only stresses the new and not the old.
What is DEI?
Oh, DEI is it's like it's for workplaces. It's like diversity, equity, and something training. It's like another like corporate buzzword. Let's look it up right now so I know what I'm saying. It stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It has to do with like
boo.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, you have to go to the seminar, and the lady comes in and explains to you of, why it's, why you have to be nice.
You can DEI or DIE.
Yep, that's what they say. That's how they end all their seminars. So basically the CDF was becoming weak on account of wokeness. And Lou, who is probably, I would have to guess the oldest actor in the movie. Maybe she's about 12. And her character is sort of the stickler, like the tough as nails one who you can't get anything past. She's sort of a villain early on in the movie. She doesn't want to let Alec into the CDF. But as the movie goes on, it turns out she is really the most trustworthy one. Mm-hmm. And again, the movie presents this as showing that she is very dead set on adhering to the old classic text, the way of doing things. This is more than likely an allegory for the Bible, for a religious foundation, as opposed to just learning things in the secular way. Or I really like Scott's theory that it could be about, for instance, referring to the King James Bible rather than a newer, more perhaps watered down translation of the Bible. I remember how in Leap, the filmmaker of Leap and Leap 2 insisted that we should only use the King James Bible.
Yeah.
And that basically, in as many words, he said that basically anything else was like a Vatican perversion of the real text.
Weird that that's not even like the first version of the Bible.
Right.
I know. It's like, as I'm not a scholar in this, but as far as I can tell, it is a stylized translation of the Bible.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that why it's like people like it so much? Is because they like
that is the coolest word.
Stylized the Bible.
Yeah, because it sounds like fucking Shakespeare.
Shakespeare wrote that one. Yeah.
But basically, James Shakespeare.
If you say thou or giveth, people lose their shit.
I know, they really do. Panties be dropping for the King James version. See, this is why I am an NIV guy.
Yeah. Okay.
And if that makes me like a poussé, then what can I say? Guilty as charged. But I like I'm a good reader. I can read high level text here, but I don't like the message that I'm getting from the Bible, which is already such a text heavy work. I don't want to be fighting through the language to get to the meaning. And that's just my choice.
I like the KISS Bible. Keep it simple, stupid.
The KISS translation?
Yeah. The book of Gene.
Yeah, the book of Paul.
The book of Ace. And the book of the other guy.
The other guy. Ringo. While we're at it, y'all, what's the opinion on the new Beatles track?
There's a new Beatles track.
There's a new Beatles song.
Yeah. I would listen to it backwards.
It said Paul is alive.
Yeah, Paul is alive. It said, this is John. I'm on the roof.
How long have they been sitting on this track?
I never died. Get me down from the roof.
So this track was made by it's a demo recorded in the studio by John Lennon, but he recorded his voice on the same track as the guitar. Somehow I only know, I can't explain the story any further. Somehow the director Peter Jackson provided the Beatles with the software necessary to isolate John's vocals.
Yeah.
So therefore the Beatles, thanks to director Peter Jackson, the Beatles were then able to isolate John's vocals, take it back into the studio, and co-write and produce their new track Now and Then, which was produced by Jeff Lynne of ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, y'all. The new ELO translation of the Bible of the Beatles.
Interesting. I like Yellow.
I love Yellow. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, he made that song. I mean, it's basically like a Jeff Lynne song.
I
with the way it's arranged.
So. It sounds like, the way it's arranged for sure. It sounds like a, tepid Beatles song.
Yeah.
Also, the video, which was directed by Peter Jackson, is hilarious because they basically just chopped and green screened out like different footage of the Beatles performing and put George and John like side by side of the alive in quotation marks Paul and Ringo.
It's very, very bizarre. I still think that George Harrison video with all the fucking LA comedians. Did you ever see that?
What?
Oh.
Did you see that, Scott?
No.
That is a million times more cringe.
I don't know what that is.
It was like somehow some famous director, like some famous music video director, like Lance Bangs or somebody, did a music video for All Things Must Pass. I think
they casted a lot of LA comedians in it.
Fuck, what is this? Let me get this right real quick.
Yeah.
Man, I'm frantically trying to see if Ray Comfort has publicly said anything about this new song.
Okay, it's My Sweet Lord. Okay,
He did a video for My Sweet
Lord. Sorry.
Ray Comfort is shook at new Beatles song Now and Then. Ray Comfort has gone to the roof. He will not come down.
It's not as cringe as in 2021, Lance Bangs made a music video for George Harrison's My Sweet Lord.
Okay.
And if you missed this, consider yourself lucky.
Completely missed it. Never heard of this in my life.
It's not complete nonsense. It was like quote unquote produced by George Harrison's son, Danny Harrison.
Okay.
Who I guess I got a little bit of an inside scoop from somebody who had a friend who worked with Danny Harrison on another project and said that the guy is like a complete moron.
Interesting.
So I'm guessing that this was his idea. It's literally just like a bunch of LA comedians like running into each other, and then they all end up in a movie theater where they watch George Harrison like performing. Doesn't make any sense. You should check it out. But it's got Mark Hamill, Fred Armisen, Vanessa Bayer, Moshe Kasher, Natasha Leggero, Jeff Lynne, Reggie Watts, Darren Criss, Patton Oswalt, Weird Al, David Gabori, Sam Richardson, Atsuko Okatsuka, Rosanna Arquette, Brandon Wardell, Ringo Starr, Joe Walsh, John Hamm, Brett Meters, Anders Holm, Danny Harrison, Rupert Friend, Angus Sampson, Taika Waititi, Eric Wareheim, Tim Heidecker, Kate McCucci, Ricky Lindome, Alyssa Stanoa, the Three Busy Debras, Mitra Juhari, Sandy Honig, Olivia Harrison, Amy Mullins, Courtney Peruso, Natalie Palmitas, Shepard Fairey, Claudia O'Doherty, Tom Sharpling, Paul Scheer, and Sarah Baker.
Brandon Wardell is in a George Harrison video?
Yes. Yeah. It's like literally like a fucking who's who of overrated LA comedians.
Interesting. Shout outs to Brandon. He seems nice. He was my customer at the bagel shop. I sold him many bagels at the bagel shop. Seems like a nice boy. But I don't think Weird Al's are overrated.
Oh yeah, that's true. Sorry.
No,
I'm being incendiary.
Of course.
Because it's
just that is insane. Why? But I mean, at the same time, if someone was like, would you like to be in a George Harrison
That's what
video,
it kind
even
of...
if it's an insane guy? Like, of course you would say, like, yes.
Yeah, when you watch the video, it's literally just like them finding like little ways for these people to just like bump into each other and be like, oh, hello. It's so strange. I don't know. I do not know like what.
And for my sweet Lord of all
the
songs.
impulse was to make this and just be like, we have to get all the comedians in this. Because, you know, my father, I'm sure it was like Danny Harrison being like, you know, my father loved comedy.
He loved to laugh.
Yeah.
I'm sure he
It
loves
should
to
have
laugh.
been like a movie of George Harrison doing like mime work and like nobody's responding to him like in the video, and like all the comedians are just like crying in the audience.
Wow.
You're not too far off from what it actually is.
Well, the Beatles.
Fuck movie did we watch?
The Beatles, alive and well,
Yeah.
except for the dead ones.
The lucky ones. I like
Can't believe they have a new
they don't have to
single.
listen to the Beatles anymore.
What do we think? Anything else? Any other observations from the defense of New Haven before we give this one a rating?
Oh, I noticed that there was credit to music by the London Symphony Orchestra.
I did notice that. I'm glad I have that in my notes. I forgot to bring it up. Yes. Did they commission music from the London Symphony Orchestra? Did they license music that was performed by the London Symphony Orchestra? Like, did they get like the mechanical royalties or whatever, the royalties to be able to use symphonic music in their film? That really confused me.
Yeah, it might be one of those things where they, you know, they paid for some sort of like classical music bundle from some like music library website. I'd like to take it a step further and just say, you know, the London Symphony Orchestra composed our soundtrack.
Yeah, I think it's probably something like that.
From my impression from this movie and their blog is that they had a decent amount of money.
Sure.
The dad quit his job to focus on making this film full time,
As he should have.
He was like an IT consultant. Traveled all over the world doing it. Spent all his weekends working on stuff until he finally quit.
He was in the ITF. Barely makes sense, but anyway, go on.
The new ITF Bible, right?
Ah, yes. The new IT translation of the Bible. Interesting.
On the seventh day, the Lord tried turning it off and then on again.
That was sort of what Noah's flood was all about.
Yeah.
He was doing a hard reset on Earth. The Defense of New Haven, a compelling film by a compelling family, the Steeges, who I would like to once again remind everyone, because we are talking about the work of young children, we really do respect them and their hard work.
Yep. And their sweet adrenochrome.
Yeah. How would we rate this film? What is the official Boys Bible Study rating of The Defense of New Haven?
I thought it had great set design, great costumes, a lot of clever tricks to get around maybe less of a cast than you would want to make it look like there were as many kids available as they needed. I am going to have to give this 4 out of 4 foods, one of which makes your arthritis worse. I saw a lot of weird commercials watching this movie on YouTube. The 4 foods were tomatoes, cucumbers, bread, and apples. I accidentally skipped before I found out which one causes or makes your arthritis worse.
That's a shame. Well, we'll never know, I suppose.
Nope.
I'd just like to say that, you know, I've been watching a lot of Raiders TikTok, and all I got to say is CDF equals ISIS. I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 years to make this film. Is that how long they said it took it? Did we talk about that?
I don't think we did. Is that something you gleaned when you were reading their blog?
I think so. I just needed a number to say, so.
Sounds good to me.
We'll say it took them 5 years.
5 years? Do you think they had some characters play multiple parts just by age?
I think they like shot it all and then it took like 4 years of editing. Because this movie, like on a lot of the things said it came out like
they had to digitally de-age Louise to make her look 12 instead of 14.
All those beards you saw, they put those on in post.
In CGI, it cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars
to make them look like cheap tapes and beards.
Yeah. Well, as for me, I enjoyed the film The Defense of New Haven. I thought it was very compelling to see a steampunk kids Christian film. It made me, want to build my life on the solid foundation of the Word of God, aka the Bible. It's the Bible, y'all. You have to give this film 1 out of 1 working model steamboats, because I was so very impressed with the boat set.
They showed how they made that in the making of
Wow.
featurette. They show how they built the harbor and built the boats and everything. It was really cool.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
really
built it
cool.
all from scratch.
They built
Really
the harbor?
impressive. Yeah.
It was like City of Lost
With the
Children
water
or
in it?
something.
Yeah.
Really?
It's in the garage. They built like a indoor pool kind of thing and like put a tarp in it and everything and filled it with
Holy
water
shit.
and like built the boats from scratch, showed how they like put the motors inside the boats and like adjust it so it like look like an old like steampunk boat and then put like dry
really
ice
not
in it to
kidding.
make
If
steam
they just
come
added
out.
some gels to the lights and like one fog machine, it would look like City of Lost Children at those points.
Yeah.
Hey, those kids ain't lost. Well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's edition of Boys Bible Study. If this is your first time here, please go to boysbiblestudy.com and check out our free episodes. If you really like what we do and you want to support us, get bonus content, patreon.com/boysbiblestudy. If you subscribe for $5 a month or more, you unlock bonus episodes. And we like to shout out our generous $20 subscribers, our patron saints. Thank you very much, Nicole, Marissa, Jeff, Kara, and Rhett. Our outro music is Oh My God by Mary. From all of us here at Boys Bible Study, myself, Chibi Ash, my co-hosts, Chibi Scott and Chibi Julian, we would like to say, peace be with you.
And also with you.
Remember that time I tried to record the episode with the
I
voice
did.
changer?
It was the first and last time because I staunchly prohibited it. I sternly prohibited it.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I feel your love in me, it's coming from within. Oh my God, my devotion is so unwavering. Divine emotions when you enter me. Every day